I run Mobile Group, but I'm also a mobile analyst with VentureBeat. And the reason I'm so excited about this panel is also because it works well with the VentureBeat report I'll be putting out about ASO. And many of the people on this panel are also in that report. So if you're watching some of the free masterclasses and webinars that I'm hosting over at VentureBeat, then you will actually see Gabrielle Yes, you'll actually see Gabrielle later on this month, because on July 20, he's going to be my guest at a masterclass there, all about this report talking about Black Hat ASO. But enough of that. I want to start off because if you haven't seen the panel before and missed maybe some of the presentations, let's just kick off with a round of introductions, who you are and what you do with regards to ASO. I guess we'll just start at the end with you, Gabriel, as if we didn't know that already, and work our way down.
My name is Gabriel Machulet, and I work as an ASO consultant and trainer for companies. A little bit more. Not like that.
We'll have more to talk about. Thomas?
So I'm Thomas. I used to do ASO a bit freelance. I know I work for 8fit in Berlin.
I'm Thomas Twig. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for the ASO Co. So at the start of this year, I actually quit my job in paid advertising to work primarily on optimizing the organic channel, set up a company called the ASO Co.
Charo?
Yeah, I'm Charo, and I manage all the ASO and SEO at Buongiorno. It's a global entertainment company developing mobile apps and web apps.
I'm Moritz Daan. I work for Future, a mobile graph consultancy agency in Berlin. I used to work 2 years in the graph team at SoundCloud. Did a lot of apps optimization there.
So we've been hearing a lot about, basically the evolution of ASO, which is really exciting. And one of you brought it up that I think it was Thomas, that it's everything. It's about marketing. It's a lot of different words for it. So looking at what you do in ASO, keywords, onboarding, images, screenshots, everything that you can possibly optimize to increase discovery, what would you say are the key components where developers should be spending more time, or where they can be getting better results? Maybe we'll start with you, Moritz, and go that way.
I guess nowadays it's really about optimizing your App Store listings, so conversion. Keywords are still important. I do a lot with keyword optimization as well, but nowadays that you have those 5 experiments that you can run concurrently in the Google Play Store, make use of that because that's where you'll see the biggest impact in terms of ASO at the moment.
Okay, what about you, Charo? Is it also that listing?
Within the listing, for me, something key would be the video, okay, to increase the conversions. It's something that I have experience with, and for me, just getting a localized video on each App Store listing, particularly on Google Play, it makes a big difference.
Tom, you work with agencies, you work with brands, so is it a different focus for them, what they could be getting more mileage out of?
I think really it depends on the client, it depends on the agency. I think what we've seen is that with our range of clients from big e-commerce brands through to games, what we're seeing is that the techniques and the things that you need to think about really change depending on the market. So for instance, for one particular client, we're doing a big process around review management, because we're finding that actually their reviews is really affecting their ranking. For another client, we're looking primarily at creative and working with that alongside metadata to really improve their conversion. So what I would say is there's a tool set that you work from for any kind of app store optimization, but the ones that you pick and the strategies that you use are really dependent on the needs of the client and where they're at in terms of their own journey of app store optimization.
So Thomas, you had a very powerful presentation about the power of screenshots and images, icons. Low-hanging fruit there. Where should devs be focusing their efforts?
Well, I agree with what they all say, so I'll just repeat, the visuals had really a massive impact. And 2 years ago, we were talking a lot about keywords and rankings. Now people focus on the conversion, and the visual was really driving here. So icon, screenshot. I'm pretty curious later on the debate maybe to talk about the video, because contrary to Charo, I've seen very conflicting results here, and I actually had information directly from Google telling me that they're not seeing any conversion uplift from the video in many verticals. That's coming from Google Berlin, not Google London. And I've seen people telling me the difference was positive and really big, and I've seen others who are telling me it's nothing. So it's interesting to see who's having the experience here on the video and why is there such difference from an app to another, which is probably what you were saying from a vertical or client can differ a lot.
And how about you, Gabriel? I mean, where's the low-hanging fruit? You might say it's in none of the above, but where is it for you? Where should we be focusing our efforts?
I guess in learning about ASO and stop doing ASO at some stage. I mean, you see companies that are trying to do ASO for markets where ASO is going to make absolutely no difference. It will make a little bit of difference, but at a certain point, you can't really compete based on ASO. ASO is organic, and at some stage, one of the things that the industry believes that is that it's a constant process. And it's a constant process because the more you do it, the more we can actually consult you. But at some stage, some apps are perfectly fine. Some apps don't need to be optimized ever again. They're evergreen markets. It means you do your ASO. I mean, the search terms are not going to change. You optimize stuff, but the rest is normal marketing. So, I mean, I suggest now my clients to work more on social media. And once their apps is optimized, I mean, at some stage, you can leave it there. Now, if you want to keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking, learn to fail fast. I think in this industry we don't fail fast enough. We're terrified of failing. So the beautiful thing of this is if you make a mistake with ASO, you can revert. You can't do that with web. If you make a mistake with web, you are in big trouble. So you can revert at some stage. So failing fast would be, I mean, give it a go by yourself more often.
And that's a good point, because that was my next question was, you know, ASO is so fast moving. What are you doing, or what did you do maybe 2 years ago that you wouldn't do now or that you would do differently? So you're talking about failing fast, we'll start with you. So what did you do before that you would do very, very differently now, or maybe skip altogether? I'll start with you, yeah?
Well, I mean, I spanned the App Store for 1 year for a living, right? So I built 500 apps in a month. So what will I do? I will just put apps up there with no marketing, no plan, and just put the keywords in the title and then wait. That was the plan, and it worked. I mean, the ROI was clear. Now what we do is trying to be realistic that if you're going to launch a slot machine app and your strategy is ASO, there's not going to work. So now the difference is the competition is insane. So you need to have a specific angle. But now apps are a business. You need to have a proper business plan, a proper angle. And without user acquisition, it's not going to be able to work.
Okay, I'll come back this way. Thomas, what did you do 2 years ago that you would do differently now that app is a business? Really?
Yeah, actually it's a bit specific to my situation because 2 years ago I was actually trying to improve listings that were pretty horrible. So you can actually make a big uplift at first when your listing was crap, but this world has become more professional, and when I came at it, the level of conversion was already so high, and the listing optimized. I tried everything I could do to get tiny uplift, and that's because the curve of improvement in ASO will stall eventually if you don't put money in there. So actually, what I do today that I didn't do before is I stopped worrying that much about ASO. I dedicate a little bit less time to it. Probably not the message I should give, but that's the truth. But it's the nature of the app I work for, and it's because it's only one app. If you still have the early improvements, of course do them. But there's a limit. It's exactly what you said just before.
I'll take it. What else?
So 2 years ago, I think the data sets that we were using for optimization were quite valid. I think in 2 years, the data sets have moved along quite a bit. And one of the challenges we're finding is that a lot of very cheap platforms that you can buy data from just really don't convert in terms of getting results. So the way that we've had to move over the last 2 years is really move away from looking at high volume keywords and to look much more towards high quality keywords, whatever that is for a brand. That is a big process. There's a lot of strategy that goes behind that. There's not a system that spits out what's relevant and what's not. But I think really 2 years on from using those platforms, we're seeing that you really need to think about that, especially if everyone has access to the same types of data.
So volume to quality, I mean, is that something that's changed for you, something you would do differently?
For me, what I would do less certainly is And what I actually do much less is less keyword research, because 2 years ago I was very strict and very specialized on that, and it certainly doesn't pay to be so specific, okay, even in different types of categories. As they were saying before, it makes more sense to have a business plan, to have a whole 360-degree plan, and then be very strategic on what you want to optimize, which languages, and how you want to invest your time best.
Okay, and Moritz?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I was working for SoundCloud, doing a lot of ASL for them. We built this on tool, also testing with conversion, but I think back then I spent way too much time really trusting the search force and search volumes of all the tools out there. I'm actually not using that at all anymore because I don't trust them. Tell you a little bit more in the workshop this afternoon. I trust the tools for keyword rankings, but not so much for the search volumes. I used to build like gigantic spreadsheets on, I still have a gigantic spreadsheet, but I used to really work with those search force to come up with a strategy, and I think I lost a lot of time doing that. So I changed my strategy around that. Yeah.
So I noticed that there's also been a lot of discussion at the roundtables. Do we have some questions? Do we have some questions from the floor? Yes, we do. Ryan, I think the mic is coming. I saw a lot, incidentally, on social media, so you guys have quite a lot of questions to answer. Someone just said, ask Thomas how he does it.
Yeah, actually, I can give you a good insight that's uniting all the answers here when the question is coming, which is, instead of basing my research on the tools out there, since there are the Google Play ads on the Play Store, and now Apple is launching them, we're running pretty expensive AdWords on Android, and we're getting the data from there. And it's not only the data on volume, but it's what you say, it's the data on conversion. So my app is converting on subscription, and here you see what you don't in the organic, which is which keyword is actually driving the conversion. And I base my ASO not on the volume of the tools out there, and not on the keyword about fitness and high volume keywords, but the exact keyword that's converting for my particular app. And this data, I get it from AdWords. I'm very happy that eventually I'll get it for the App Store pretty soon, but we'll see about that because nobody has seen the exact details of what Apple is going to give us. That's actually a good one. Use AdWords to get your data on the quality of users.
Okay, so we'll take your question, Ryan.
Can I? Here.
Hey,
Hello. Hi.
We didn't take your question. You had a question? No, I mean,
you can
I'm
wait.
waiting for someone to give you a mic.
Sorry, I was also raising my hand,
I'll take
so
yours.
I probably got the mic first. Sorry about that. I'm Kazushi from Google Play, and I already posted a question there if you have time, but I had another question I wanted to ask, which is for Gabriel, I think. For Black Hat ASO, do you see more automated effort from bots or for more manual efforts from humans, like crowdsourcing?
It's actually easier to outsource, to be honest. I mean, it's actually easier to build your own thing. The tools tools always leave a breadcrumb. It means if you're having a bot farm, you're going to have IPs or MAC address. Google is brilliant with that. In fact, when Google deletes an account, you get 3 warnings from Google. The funny thing with Google is the warnings are automatic, so you may have them in half an hour. And so it means the account will be deleted. And they do it automatically. So it's going to be easier to trick the App Store with outsourcing techniques, having their team. And the people that are doing Black Hat have their own team outsourced to developing countries. So yeah.
So it's more humans than bots?
It's more human. Humans are always going to be faster, smarter than bots, right?
True.
Yeah.
Next question, we have one over here.
Continue your answer, but doesn't that mean that those IPs would be much more likely to be tracked by Google? Because if you're outsourcing to a company who's only doing that, who's only doing search, bots, then Google would eventually find out about that company, right?
The question is, does Google care? That's my question. I mean, here's a question for you guys. I mean, search ads came in the only moment where Apple's stock went down, right? It's funny. So when you have blood in the street, it's always going to be great. So, I mean, sounds horrible, but if search is not working, ads is going to make a killing for Apple. So, I believe Google believes in search as the main, resource of their company. I think Apple believes in Apple products and Apple beautiful things versus search. I think Google will be able to detect this. I don't know if they have the resource team. Right now, the only people that are into the Google Play is John Mueller, but John Mueller is not in Google Play from Google. So I don't know if they have built a team directly. You Google? Yes. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear. I don't know if you guys have a Google team that's going to work in anti-spam. If you do it, I think they have the resources to detect this faster. The footprint of Black Hat that is done technically is going to be very easy for them to detect. If used by humans, we're always going to be working to to outrank them, okay? They work from 9 to 5. These people are making a living from this. So their priority is to always trying to innovate somehow. Now it's not long term. Eventually, they have more money, they win.
Just one more question, if I may, separate on this topic, but open to everybody in the panel. Do you see an opportunity in connecting app indexing and trying to get organic traffic from the actual searches, from the mobile searches, and driving that towards Google? Just to give you a bit of context, we published a lot of apps, about 8,000 apps, about 8,000 different data points regarding ASO. So we've kind of ranked, in our small niche, we've ranked for about every keyword out there. So now we're looking at trying to get traffic from Google searches. And why not try to optimize app indexing and try to use app indexing in a way in which we could get the mobile searches towards all these apps. Do you see my point?
Yeah, completely. Personally, I would suggest that you forget about mobile. Go web. Go content marketing. It's amazing how many of you guys are not blogging. Okay, I'm going to get 10 times more traffic, 100 times more traffic with web than with mobile. There's more traffic in google.com search than Google Play. Now you might wonder, why would I want to do that? Because if I have an authority site that's going to inspire, I don't know what kind of apps do you do, okay? But if you can have a content that's going to inspire me, fitness, if I find a fitness blog that's going to help me, and then that is an app company, then I'm going to go from the website to download the app. App indexing is great. My theory is going to be limited. So I will be focusing on content marketing.
So a human effort to beat the automated effort. Let's go to another question. Ryan, you have one?
Yeah, hey guys, my name is Ryan. I'm with GummyCube ASO. Moritz, I think you touched on this recently, but there was some conflicting messages sent from Apple after WWDC. Are the descriptions indexed, going to be indexed, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I checked it and they're still not indexed, but I think they might come into effect for search ads. So if you have keywords in your index as well, your search ad might be more relevant. So I think that's what they were hinting at. But this might change as well for your organic search. I don't know yet, but the last that I found, I checked a couple of descriptions, phrases in there, and apps still wouldn't rank for them. So that's the latest I have, but that can change any moment.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
Yeah, just to add to that, I definitely think it would be used for validation. If you look at what Apple are saying in terms of the way that they're going to promote certain apps that are more relevant, even if the bid is much higher, they're going to have to use as much data as they can for that validation. So that description is going to become a lot more important when you start to run search ads. And we actually think it's going to become more important in terms of App Store optimization as a whole going forward as well. So we'll see what happens, but I'm very, very sure it'll be a validation point.
So before we go to the next question, search ads, that is really a hot topic. Anyone have intel on that? Anyone in beta? Anyone think it's worth going into beta?
Yeah,
Here?
so we're in beta with a couple of clients at the moment, it's US only. There's no dashboards. As far as we understand, it's not going to be launching until September properly, so you'll be able to see and actually dashboards will be available before the full launch, as we understand it. The other thing we understand is that Apple are still actually training their internal people, so it's not available to anyone at the moment, and even Apple don't fully know what it is. We think they're still developing it in the background a little bit, and we think that they're using the beta really to try and gather as much information they can to see how it's working in the wild. Is it performing well? You know, we saw a little bit of an uplift for a client. Is it because of that? Is it something else? It's quite hard to tell at this stage because there's not enough information on it.
It's interesting, the implications, because on one level you would say, well, that's going to unveil some of the algorithms and the workings, because we'll sort of see a relationship between those, obviously, in the search ads. We'll get an idea about the algorithms. And then I'm also hearing that it's going to be potentially a challenge for indies.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about that?
The data I was showing in my talk proves that the user don't understand this is an ad. So actually, if you can pay to just put yourself on top on the first one, and the indie is actually the first results for relevance. This is the second reason, because somebody's paying for it, is going to lose traffic for sure. So it's definitely a bad news for indies in that sense. On the Play Store, that's why we're using it extensively, because there are lots of small apps in our vertical, and we can just get on top of it. And yeah, it's written ads, but people just don't notice. They just click on the first results no matter what, and it's been effective. So I'm very surprised Apple take down this road, to be honest, because they're more in a creative perspective. I understand Google does it. It's been great for us as a developer who does paid acquisition, but it's probably bad news for indies for sure.
Are you going to jump in there, I think?
No, not so far. No, I was going to.
Your chair.
Yes.
Actually, I have a point. I mean, I disagree with the description being indexed. I mean, Apple has no technology to do this. They can't get metadata properly right now, so the description is going to be a mess. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get the LSI from you guys from Google working, linguistic semantic indexing. So they're trying to make you understand that meditation and Zen are linked. So one of the interesting things for app companies is you guys are ranking for keywords that you don't know you're ranking. Okay, so you have to go home and search for keywords that you think, I'm not going to rank for these keywords because they're not in my keyword list. But those keywords have nothing to do with the description. I mean, my theory is that Apple has a little database or a database that they're actually trying to incorporate a smart algorithm and install it dramatically. So I doubt description is going to work.
But what about relevant keywords? Relevant keywords.
That could work. Yeah.
Okay. So
Try use the word to underline what you said.
Yeah.
Questions from the floor to continue to take that?
Yeah.
Oh, we got plenty of them. In the back.
Actually,
I
I have a question. Art Doctive, I'm a content manager for Mob Affiliates. I have a question about, okay, for an indie developer, how is it possible to measure reliably ROI of his efforts, abstract optimization efforts, both for iOS and Android? So is it possible to reliably build a bridge between keyword, download, and revenue for app and actually portfolio webs? It's a question for the whole panel.
There's no ROI of ASO. I mean, you can't.
Even for Google?
I think it's very difficult. It's like, I'm going to reply with Gary Vee answer. What's the ROI of social media? What's the ROI of your mother? Same deal. You can't measure the ROI of ASO, but there's a process, right? It's what's the ROI of getting fit? I mean, the way that I see it is, I mean, ASO is knowing your app is optimized. Now, we don't have the data to prove that this keyword is bringing this amount of money. Imagine if people knew this. It's going to become big testable. So when ads come up and you know that that keyword converts, it becomes AdWords. You know, so that's the risky part, in my point of view.
Yeah, so totally agree with that. It's really hard to measure ROI specifically on keywords. I think you have to think of it as kind of like A/B testing in a dark room, and you eventually find a door, and then you go through there, and there's something else. You find furniture. You know, it's kind of that's the way it's done. You know, to truly understand the value of each individual keyword is a challenge. And also things can change so much over time. If you haven't got reliable search volumes, if there's new competitors coming in, how do you reliably measure that? And what I would say is any platforms that you're using which try to estimate that really take a massive pinch of salt. We've seen platforms that try to estimate it based on chopping up your downloads and your organic channel by what they think the volume is. It's not reliable at all. And also the other thing as well is just keywords in general. We talked about policy. You can buy and put yourself in a position where you're high up for a certain keyword. But actually, if you're not consistently converting on that, you're going to have to constantly spend to keep yourself there. You have ad stocking keywords, and what we're finding is that actually for some of the biggest brands is that once you get them to a certain position for a certain keyword, they're much more likely to stay there than an indie developer. So that is a challenge in that search ads will be able to get you up there and then you potentially use that ad stock. But in terms of being able to constantly buy your way into that position, I think the organic channel and the actual ASO part of it, which looks more like SEO, is still going to be very relevant for developers.
So, sorry, do you want me to take another question or ask another? One more question from the panel? So out here somewhere? There was one in the back. Or shy.
We can take some more.
There.
Right.
We can take a lot of them. We have a lot coming up.
Hello?
Social media, I can't see them all.
Tell me, Dodge.
Alex F. Nobius. Basically, I have a very short and simple question for Gabriel. Basically, using Black Hat services, what is approximate CPI?
What is it, what?
Approximate CPI.
Well, literally there's no CPI. It depends. I mean, you can do it with Fiverr.com for $5. I mean, I'm not going to give you an amazing number so you can start doing it tomorrow. So, to be honest, there's no answer. I mean, depends on the niche, on the vertical, the whole thing. So, it's obviously lower. But those users that you're downloading are not users, are just downloads to increase the ranking. So, there's no real CPI.
Okay, do I have a time to show my slide by any chance? No, okay. Well, next time anyway. But it's going to be very interesting data. It'll be in my what I'll be writing on Mobile Groove, or also in my VentureBeat report. So I did want to get to videos and creatives because that seems to be where I think the competitive advantage really lies. You mentioned you're not really seeing the conversions on video. I'm hearing from other companies, major games companies, telling me, we're putting 50% of our overall UA budget into video and visuals. So.
But I think here you said it's games, and I'm working on
Okay.
non-games app.
Non-games,
and I think these
right.
are really
Okay.
two industries. It's kind of, there are lots of verticals, but there are two industries. There are games and non-games, and non-games are very different. I'm talking only from my own vertical, and it didn't work. Maybe our video was crap, we only tested 2 of them. Maybe our vertical is different. I'm hearing also from games that video are working very well. Maybe because it gives you the quick insight you need, like the streaming ads that Google does. They only do it for games too, because it makes sense for games, but it doesn't, for my app, streaming app, it wouldn't make sense at all. So maybe it's there.
Thomas, I think that especially for games, a teaser obviously works very well, but the other categories I have tried it are in music and education, okay? And it certainly works for those, okay?
I haven't said it doesn't work. I've said it doesn't work for me, and I've seen conflicting results from other people. Some of them works fantastic. Some of them is the same.
Which categories, Thomas? Which ones?
In-
Which type of categories? For the people you have
Connectivity
heard
didn't
from.
work.
Okay.
Fitness didn't work either. I've got a couple of examples, and games work. All the examples where I've seen it work was games, but it's not like I've asked 50 people about it. So it's like out of 4 or 5 apps.
Yeah, I think also for paid app, having a video explaining a bit more about the app before they to make the pay decision.
That makes sense, yeah.
Is helping with all the other apps that I work with. I saw a video fail at like -3% conversion. So I kind of gave up, but I think there's use cases where video is actually contributing.
That's actually a great lesson in ASO. There's no burden that applies to everyone.
There's
You
no
have to
magic
make it
formula.
for your vertical, your app, your value proposition, and what works for the other one might be different for yourself.
So we've got a lot of valuable advice here. We have a great panel of experts. Let's just close one sentence, one top tip, one piece of, golden advice for people who want to get more mileage out of ASO. We'll start here. We'll just roll down. So I'll start with you, Moritz. One sentence, what you need to be doing, your top tip.
Use all your 5 slots for Google Play experiments.
Okay, for me it would be use your creativities from ASO, and I'm talking especially text creativities, into Facebook ads, see how they perform, doing A/B testing, and also if you have good creativities from Facebook campaigns, put them into your App Store listing. It's something really interesting.
Okay. Top tip or top tool, whatever you want to leave with one sentence.
So I'd say use tools with a pinch of salt and develop your own methodology.
I'd say use the data from AdWords to get your conversion and the real user that makes sense for you.
Stop using your computer to ask for data. Get your app, go to a park, you have kids, show the app, see how they act, ask your kids to search for an app. Stop using tools. Ask people to search for an app in front of you in Starbucks. Go out and you will find more data in live case than on a tool.
Valuable, be human about it, be real. I'd like to thank the panel. Very invigorating conversation. Let's have a hand for it.